Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. I'm fabulous. Hmm. Yes, what's going on in your world?
Just ending a long week. Long
Yeah.
week, but this is always it's like this is how I look at when I would have a coaching call or whatever. It's just you knew that it was going to be a breath of fresh air, and I look at these shows too. So, it's always informative, and it's just like, all right, I'm going to learn something and give people some information. So, looking forward to our show. How about
Okay.
you?
I'm well. Good week, and um, life is life. Hanging in there. So I'm excited about tonight as well. This is our third part of our series, three-part series. So I look forward to talking about that tonight. Let's give some shout
Mhm.
outs or see who's in the crowd before we get started.
Yeah. Let's
Pull that
see.
page up. See who's
Maybe
in the house.
I don't think we got a maybe some stragglers. Let's see. Well, looks like we got stragglers this evening, but
Okay.
that's all right.
Well, cool. We can still get started then. I was going to give some shout outs. Uh, so we'll get started. Last week, we were talking about using a tool to help figure out the core of our problems. And the tool not only helps us look at situations, but how did those situations come about? And what is the root cause of those problems? So we had a couple of people come on the show and they joined us and they actually uh, participated in using that tool and figuring out their problems. I think we had fun helping to discover some things. And tonight we want to look at um, that relationship with yourself and building or maintaining
Sorry about that.
or establishing intimacy and how does that work? How what does intimacy mean? So looking at what does it mean? How can you establish it? We've invited a couple of people to the show to talk to them about that and to look at how some steps you can take, some coaching steps you can take to build or establish a greater personal intimacy. So people in your life can get the best of you and not just the rest of you. So, all right. To look at
That's
intimacy,
good.
what you say the definition is of intimacy based on how you understand it?
I would say this is this is gonna be off the cuff here.
Hmm.
Maybe a very close and deep connection with another person or with yourself that allows vulnerability, an ability to relate, an understanding that I would say is deeper than most. That's what I would say. I don't know. What is it?
There's oh, no, I have the official. I mean, there's Google's version.
Right.
Intimacy that I talk about or teach is feeling connected, and this is from actually Hazelden Treatment Center. They talk about finding intimacy through the way that you root or the way that you connect, the way that you bond, the way you feel a
Mm,
sense of belonging, the way you feel like you're part of something, part of a system, part of a team, part of a family,
yeah.
friendships, romantic relationships, your spirituality, the way you connect with that, the way you connect with your religion, higher power, um, all about connection and feeling rooted and feeling good with internal. So all those things I mentioned are actually external, outside of us. And so if we feel connected, like a chain link, you're one of the links in the chain. And if you feel that you're strong, your link, you are strong in that chain, then you have a very solid system. A lot of times people are not that strong, confident, uh, have a good, healthy relationship with themselves, and that impacts the chain or the root the bed that they're rooted in. That could impact the entire system, and it will be easy to look to the left or to the right or up and down and to blame. But really, if we would have realized that, whoa, we might be wounded, so to speak, and no matter how much is poured into us, we actually seep out some of that goodness, some of that enrichment, and boom, we start engaging in unhealthy behaviors. So a
Mhm.
long-winded answer, but like I said, it's actually um, a little different than intimacy as far as how feeling good and stuff like that.
Right.
Mhm.
And it makes sense because, I mean, my relationship with my husband, we were dating at the time, was not good. Um,
Mm.
I was causing a lot of problems. But I will
Mhm.
say, when I started to work on myself and,
Mhm.
what I was learning just from some of the tools that now I teach my clients, it completely changed our relationship, and it also um, changed how. I mean, of course, like he was able to kind of adapt a little bit too because he wasn't being. I was just starting fights all the time, So he then
Mhm.
got to feel more easy, or at ease
Mm.
rather than
Mhm.
so it was just interesting though to see such a change when I worked on my thoughts and what my
Mhm.
behavior was and how it affected our relationship. It was really
Mm.
cool.
Mhm. It's
So,
interesting you said that because a lot of people, again, when the intimacy I was talking about, connecting with others, some people actually find blame in others. It's interesting. You said, "Listen, I was causing problems, right?" Or
yeah,
right, and that's the key thing. A lot of people are not doing the I piece, and so they miss some pieces to it. I'm going to get into a
for
few of
sure.
those pieces that people miss and don't
Yeah.
realize, like, ooh, I got that together. That might help. Just before I do, I see some people are coming in, and welcome to the network. Welcome to Black Man
Unfiltered
Unfiltered.
network.
Yeah, yes. Don't worry, we're new. We're gonna work it out. So yes, Black
I
Man
got this one.
Unfiltered Network. You ready? All right, one, two. Welcome to the Black Man's Unfiltered
Unfiltered network.
Network. All right, yeah, I'm just playing.
Network.
All right. So welcome here. I'm Dr. Nakumbe, and I'm with Coach K, and we offer um, tips, tools, coaching strategies, give you a clinical perspective, not to prescribe. I want to be clear, we're not prescribing anything, not diagnosing anything, but more to describe. So just to give you descriptions, so to help you understand, gain more clarity. Hopefully, you're able to take something away from it, to build from there, look into it. Uh, a lot of stuff about healthy relationships, including the one with yourself. So, again, welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Please chime in the conversation, press those like buttons, and support the network. We greatly appreciate you chiming in.
Mhm. That's right.
Okay. So I have some ideas, and then I want to chat with you, but then we'll also bring someone in to see what they think about these particular ideas. And I have some written down
Sounds
here.
good.
A lot of times people don't realize that they actually have coping strategies that don't work for them anymore. Because if you look at the tree and the stuff we were talking about, how some of that stuff is in the root, like, when they were a child or younger, or they had an experience that really, the impact of that experience is what they act out on now. So the impact of the experience is what they act out on now. You hear people who get in a car accident, a certain type of car, and they don't say, "Oh, I'm never getting in a Ford again," but sometimes it takes them a while to actually feel comfortable if they're not the driver because they feel like they're not in control. Or if you get on the airplane, they feel like, "Whoa, I'm not getting on the airplane, I'm not in control." So they develop coping strategies. I should say we all do it. We develop coping strategies so we can feel in control. However, if I stop taking an airplane and I'm no longer the passenger in the car, but I continue to use those coping skills, they may not match my current situation. So I won't say they're unneeded, but they may not match my current situation. I may have learned that I don't know if I could trust people. Maybe I had
Right.
betrayal trauma before. But if I carry that particular coping strategy of asking a lot of questions, clarifying, making sure you're not lying, double checking, triple checking, da 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 da, and I bring that to relationships that might be trustworthy, but that coping strategy for that or then may not match what I do now. And so it could impact the relationship. And I'm not having healthy intimacy for myself because I'm still operating out of that mistrust.
Right.
If people feel like people are out to get them, against them, and I don't mean like paranoid, even though it could seem like paranoia or delusional, but I'm talking about truly believing that it's them against the world. It's hard for me to have a healthy inner space if I feel threatened. So if I feel threatened, worried, anxiety, paranoid, nervous, um, any of those things, I really can't get to a peaceful, harmonious place with myself. And then I might actually be placing judgment, blame, attacking, being super defensive, or getting out of situations faster than I get in. That's those marriages that start on Monday and they're talking the D word by Friday,
Yep.
right? I'm gonna do one more of these. Lack self awareness. Lacking self awareness is a killer of intimacy because
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I show up to other people. I either miss social cues, I misunderstand a lot conversations, I'm defensive in conversations. Um, I'm not sure of a person's intentions. So then I'm assuming, or if I'm not assuming, I'm protecting, or I'm already positioned for something that may or may not even happen. And I'm looking for that lift, that boost, that external whatever to lift me to build my confidence. And if I don't feel like it's built, it's easy for me to blame again the people in my life. You don't love me enough. You don't like me enough. You don't do enough. You don't show me enough. Um, you don't text me enough. You don't call me enough. But really, is that about that person or is it about myself? So
It's
lacking self
always me.
confidence.
Mhm.
So those are the ones I want to highlight, and I know um, if we can get into a few of those, and like I said, bring some people to see what their thoughts are about how they either overcome these things or how they have worked on these or whatever, or if they know some strategies to tell our listening audience. So again, please hit those likes. And again, welcome to the network. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat box down there. Be Please feel free to do any super chats or anything that you like, and please feel free to support the network.
Mhm.
All right. So what do we? I know we have our one guest that's going to join us, and that is Jasmine. And I'm not sure if she's here yet, but Jasmine says it all.
Yep.
For those who are familiar with her, she has a network that we'll post that in a second, so you can I know where to reach her at. Jasmine, how are you? Oh, she'll come back in a second.
I'm good and y'all call me mid bite.
Oh, that's cool. Sorry.
Oh, that's
Yep, yep. Take your
perfect.
time. Yeah. All right.
Happy Thursday.
Welcome.
How y'all feeling today?
Fabulous. Fabulous.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. How are you?
Yeah. How about yourself?
I'm a little tired, but I'm here.
Okay. Good. Thank you. What are you eating? Chicken?
Nah, not chicken today.
All right.
I got some blueberries.
Blueberries. All right. So those who don't know,
Very nice.
I was on Jasmine's network yesterday, and we were talking about chicken, but being more less meat, right? But being stuck on not being able to get past chicken. Is that
No,
about right?
no, I was doing a no meat diet, but every time I break
No
my
meat.
diet, yeah, every time I break
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I always get some chicken.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
can do
thank
it.
you.
I can do
Welcome
it.
again.
Mm.
Please introduce yourself. I mean, I just said your name, but I don't know much about your network and what you're doing. So please introduce yourself. What you would
Okay,
like
my name
to
is
do.
Jasmine. On YouTube is Jasmine Says It All. I'm a mom. I'm a child welfare specialist. I have a spa. I also have an all natural skincare line, a licensed esthetician. And on my channel, I focus on healing through trauma, all things healing, even healing through skincare and having a healthy relationship with yourself. Um,
Nice,
Oh, that's
nice.
great.
What I would like to
Good
do,
stuff.
and I want to do it while we're live because the replay people will be chiming in. I may not see it. You mentioned you provide healthcare products, and so it's your business, your practice.
yes,
All right, perfect. Super proud of you. Good look,
thank
good
you.
job, good job. Yes. For those who are here tonight, and I don't, well, I'm assuming they have to be local for where you are, but do they have products that they can order? People can
Yeah,
order products if they're not.
yeah, yeah. I do have a website for the products as well.
Okay, okay. What I like to do is to give back to what you do, and I want to donate $200 worth of products to you.
Mm.
Okay. So whoever's in the chat tonight, if you want to, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. Either go to your website, but I have to figure it out. But I want to donate $200 towards anyone here tonight in the live chat
Mm.
that wants to check out your products, or if they live in Chicago, to actually
Mm.
come and have a physical visit with.
Okay,
So,
so
but
if they was to come in Chicago and have a physical visit, that would be them getting a service. I do have
yeah,
gift certificates for that as well on my booking site.
okay, okay. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll get gift certificates, and then people will have to figure that out. But how to surrender those to you once they are
Mhm.
wanting those services. Okay. All
Okay.
right. So we'll do that. Okay.
Wonderful.
I'd ask some questions. I'm not sure how much you heard. And Coach K and I were talking about intimacy, and Coach K noticed that one in her marriage and previously when she was engaged, that some of the drama, and you didn't say that, Coach K, but I'm just going to use the word
No,
drama.
you can say drama. Sorry, my
Okay.
camera just went out, but I'll be back.
Okay. Was actually caused by herself. So she actually brought
Yes.
drama to the relationship. And so I was talking about intimacy. And first, if you don't mind, what would you consider the definition of intimacy?
Sharing a close space, sharing a closeness with somebody else, something that you probably won't share
Mhm.
with somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So perfect, because I was mentioning a few things that if people don't take care for themselves, they may not be able to have that closeness that you're talking.
Mhm.
It's easy to blame others because I'm trying to be close to you. I'm trying to be part of something. I want to be intimate with you. I want to have a connection, but they're the problem. They're the problem. They're the problem. When really, some of these issues might be the problem. And I want to mention them to you to see if you know what your thoughts are, how people can challenge these things or change them or address them. And one of them is I put on here people who lack self awareness or self confidence. So, people who lack self awareness and self confidence, my belief is there's such an internal struggle just to be who they are. And that spills over into the relationships or connections that they're trying to have. I think that loads the other person. So, if it's a significant other, a family member, a best friend, that person is working overload just to try and help lift the other person.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? Lack of self confidence or self-worth?
Well, when y'all was talking, I kind of got in at the part when y'all was talking about lacking the self-awareness. When you in a relationship, regardless of the whether it's romantic or just a friendship, when you have somebody who really don't know who they are, say for instance, you and I are together and you
Mm-hmm.
are lacking self-awareness, but I'm fully aware of who I am as an individual. I may
Mm-hmm.
display a different level of confidence. And because I may display a level of confidence, of course, I'm a light. So light attracts a lot of people are attracted to light. What that can
Mm-hmm.
do in return is make you feel like you have no sense of self, you have no
Mm-hmm.
confidence. So everything about you becomes my responsibility. I will always be soothing you. It will be my responsibility
Mm-hmm.
to make you feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable, to make you feel confident, make you feel good about yourself. And can't nobody make you feel good about yourself than you. Because at the end of the day, I can stroke your ego 24/7, 365. But when you're sitting there by yourself, you're still going to be dealing with that.
When you mentioned that, what I thought about right away is comments like these, and I'm going into role play mode, but what about specifically you? I already see where I'm thinking, oh, so you think you're all that, you're one of those new modern black women.
Mm,
Really, that's a zipper, that's a zing to you as you're bringing this confidence.
right.
Oh, you must think I'm a punk, because I'm being nice and kind of letting you do things, but don't get it twisted. Don't confused. I also see where because of your confidence, the only way I can really get this switched, not the only way, but one of the primary ways I can get this energy switched is if I start gaslighting you, start putting you in a position where you think you're the crazy one. If I start putting you in a position where you question your confidence and start to believe that I'm right. What do you think?
Well, mm, only thing I can say is when I hate when people use the term modern black woman, or
Mm-hmm.
I hate that term because I
Mm-hmm.
don't subscribe to all of these titles that people
Right.
put up. I'm just who I am. Um, and I think we all should have some level of awareness and some confidence within ourselves. My confidence has nothing to do with the next person. I could have been in a dark space and I could have
Mm.
something extremely traumatic, and I put in there a lot of work to pull myself out of that hole. So now I went from dark to light, and you taking it personal, it literally has nothing to do with you. It's just me feeling good about myself. I can literally just be proud because I made a lot of progress and I'm not where I was once before. And you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to almost beat me down, sort of say, because I feel good
Mm-hmm.
about myself because you don't feel good about yourself.
Right. Intentionally lumping you into something that might be some social media hype,
Right.
lumping you into like something that's negative and pretending like you're those people. So you're the problem. And because of this modern message, again to lump, but lumping you in, guess what that gives me? That
Control.
gives me number. Yeah, it gives me numbers. If it's 1,000 people that are in this modern thing, and I lump you in there, then it seems like you are lumped in with the 1,000 people who don't get it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So pretend is not you, but that's what lumping does. It actually gives you a. I get to put you in a category. I get to put a label on you and a title on you. So I love the fact that you're saying no, 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 no. Separate. First, understand me, not just some idea that's out there. Separate me from some agenda that's out there. Love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And what would you say to the gaslighting? So I'm not saying modern woman. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm not even saying black woman. What I'm saying is, and for those of you may already know this, the original definition of gaslighting. Coach K, do you remember when we talked about this?
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it as eloquently as you, but
Oh,
basically, but basically, almost like acting like there's a problem or acting like someone else is the crazy one when they're seeing something or expressing something. Um,
mhm.
I would say it's almost like you're trying to like deny something, I guess, in a way, and
Yep.
make it like they're the problem.
So the
So,
original thing was it's whatever town she was going around with a
right.
gas lantern lighting. The guy was going behind her, blowing them out. And she was like, "Yeah, I could have sworn it." And he was like, "No, you didn't." And convincing her that she didn't, leading her to thinking she was crazy. So Jasmine, we were role playing like, okay, so we were a couple and you feel confident about yourself, me not so much, to steal some of that power and have you think that you're crazy. I might start gaslighting you. Now that's kind of the modern term also, gaslighting. I mean, I didn't hear that word, even though the original label or whatever title goes decades,
Right.
but I never heard that term until recently. But there's another term I use, and tell me what you think of this. It's called abuse. I assassinate character. The more I can put you on an island by yourself to shrink your world, stop talking to so many friends, stop talking to so many family members, so I can get you alone, pretty much to assassinate your character. No one likes you, leaves you. B, set you up for betrayal. Because you when you feel set up and or like you betrayed me, most likely I can get you to say, "I'll do anything." And get you in my like boom. I'm sorry, I'll do anything to make up. You use you for all of your resources. Take all your money, utilize, kind of just soak up all your resources so you have to become dependent on me. S So, S, you would think that after a while you would want to leave because you can no longer be with me. This is crazy. But S keep you satisfied just enough. That one flower once a year, that one candy thing you like, or that one thing just satisfied enough. You were angry, but I soothed you for that one conversation where you believe everything's going to be okay. And then E, I control your emotions. If I can control your emotions, I can control you.
Yeah.
So abuse, ABUSE. But how can they build their own level of intimacy, feel better about themselves if they have a partner who's really giving them business, really going through that cycle of abusing them? Any suggestions?
Well, I like the acronym that you just gave. Just gave the whole abuse, assassinate, betrayal, use for resources so they can become dependent, satisfied enough to stay around, and E for emotional control. When I'm
Mm-hmm.
listening to you express that, you know what it made me think of? I'm not for sure if you ever read the book, The Art of Seduction. Yeah, it's that's basically what it sounds like. It sounds like The Art of Seduction. I remember I had
Mm-hmm.
a family member and I was trying to express to her she had a situation where her partner made her move far away to another state, away from family, friends. She had nobody. So I was
Mm-hmm.
expressing to her, well, that's what people do. When they don't have confidence, they don't have love within
Yeah.
themselves. What they do is they try to separate you from your support system so that they can
Mm-hmm.
have power and control, so that you're stripped away from all of your resources and connection so that you can depend on them. So I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you ever read that book, it's that acronym that what it just gave me. Somebody in the comment just says like the 48 laws of power. It sounds like a mixture of the
Mm-hmm.
48 laws of power and the art of seduction by
Mm-hmm.
Robert Greene. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I saw that title just now, looked at it, and what I caught, most effective forms of manipulation.
Yeah, that's really what the whole art of seduction is about.
Right.
Manipulating people, ways to seduce people, manipulating people, giving them a little bit so they can give you more, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can feel dependent upon them. That stuff only works for somebody that has low self-esteem, that's depressed,
Mm-hmm.
that don't have a big support system, that don't have a sense of self. So when you have somebody that's experienced those things, have you ever heard of women when they in situations they always talk about, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. I got a lot of female friends that always talk about their relationships and talk about how tired they are. And I'll tell them like, girl,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't tired, because if you were really tired, that tiresome gonna be followed through with some type of action. So if you still in
Mm-hmm.
that same situation, going through the same tirelessly routine with the same man over and over and over, and you just complaining about you being tired, You're not tired. You just want somebody to hear you. You just want to talk. That's all. You just want to express that you're tired, or you express that you're hurt, or that you're in some type of pain. Because normally when a woman is tired, or even a man is tired or fed up with something, they kind of like start making changes, because change is the only thing that can happen. So if I knew somebody and I was able to give them some advice, all I could tell them is, when you tired, you'll know when you tired. That's the only advice I could tell somebody like that. You got to be tired of being a victim. I see a lot of women go through those things where the character been assassinated, where they've been betrayed by somebody that they love, that they don't let some man suck them dry from all of their resources, where they feel like they wasn't getting enough. They was always overgiving, and this person was just doing just enough to get by. And this person had like full mind control over them. And every time I think about the whole mind control, it make me think about Friday, when they was when Smokey was sitting on the porch, and he was like, whenever Debo come, I'll be quiet, but when he leave, it made me think about that. Right. So it was just
right.
This man, he got full mind control over you on all aspects. The only thing that can happen to a person like that, they need to isolate themselves from that person, get far away, like run far away, and put all of that energy and effort that they put into that man into themselves.
Right. You know, at least the clients that I work with, a lot of them, the reason they don't leave, they have what I call the flower syndrome. It's not a real thing, but I call it the flower syndrome, meaning, you know, a plant requires sunlight and water. And what I run into is the people who say, true, this person is, and yes, I shouldn't let them, but I can only feel stronger if I'm doing for someone else. And since I recognize that they need me, I recognize the pain they're going through, and even though I'm tired, but I believe I can get energy, sun, water. I believe I can get I can be empowered, have a sense of purpose. So men would be considering themselves saving women, right? I'm gonna save you. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I wonder how I got it. I can fix it. I can fix it. I can fix it. And then the women feel like, man, I don't want to be responsible for another. I don't want to see another man broken, and I want to help him. I want to heal him. So the men want to save. Usually the women want to heal. Much like the sunlight and the water, they feel that it's a sense of purpose. They get something out of it, so they stay longer than they should.
Well, I know when you was just explaining it with the sunlight and water, and you was talking about the plants, it's I guess you said it's the flower syndrome. I'm just writing stuff so that I can kind of give you some feedback.
Yep.
That made me think.
Unless you're a cactus. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was gonna say, unless you're a cactus, you don't need that much. But go ahead. Yeah.
But they still need sunlight. They still need something. That made me think of men. All men. Most men find their purpose and I guess sort of say saving women, being, or like, okay, I'm trying to see how I can work this. A man can be dealing with a woman, and because you may have a woman that may be a little bit independent, and it's not that she's trying to be this strong Black woman. She just feel like, okay, all of her limbs are working, and she may not want to have to depend on somebody, or she may can do it herself. She may find joy in doing those things. It may be stress relievers. So if you have a woman that we're going to say know how to build things, some man may feel insecure that she may be a little more handy than he is. You may have a man, now she's dealing with a man that wants to be there. He wants to help. And it's not that she's rejecting the help. It's just that she might have gotten so used to doing X, Y, and Z by herself so long, or she finds joy in doing those things. It may be a stress reliever that he feel like, you know what, I have no purpose in this woman's life, because every time I try to assist her, it appears as if she's rejecting me. That woman may not be viewed as a damsel in distress. That's how I look at it. Most men find their purpose with women who are damsels in distress. I need help. And a lot of times women don't even be needing help. They just want the attention, because the attention is currency. It's a control thing. So a whole time, most men think they're running relationships with women when they're really not running relationships. The woman running circles around the man because she knows that as long as he give me attention, even though he may not like me that much, or he may not love me, or the relationship may not go as far as I want it to go. I'm still taking up his time. I'm still taking up his time. It's a control thing.
I heard you say that before. Negative attention is still attention, and
Yep,
being a victim or playing the victim role still gets you attention.
it does.
Okay.
To your own detriment,
Yeah.
usually.
Yes. I'll ask you one more of these, and Coach K, if you have any thoughts on, because I know, I mean, we're hitting maybe romantic relationships or personal relationships, but I know you work with parents and teens, or teens primarily, and I
Yeah,
think they run across some of these exact same parallels.
for sure. I mean, I love this topic anyway. Because it's like I want them to learn this stuff so that maybe they can avoid some of these things down the road with their relationships, because they know how to have, that confidence and things like that, and not rely on others, at least for their confidence or their validation, things like that. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you said something
Also,
about validation, and the problem is that's what we need to stop seeking validation from other people. You can learn to validate yourself. That's the only way you're going to have confidence. Validate your own feelings, your own emotions, hold yourself accountable, because can't nobody make you feel anything. You feel that yourself because you internalize
Yep.
certain things. So, yeah.
is it possible if I do that, I may feel a period of loneliness, and would that be okay? Because I would be transitioning from that negative behavior, which gets me attention, shifting to something more positive for myself, which may get me less attention for a while. And is that okay?
It is okay
Yep.
because I can talk about from personal experience. I might have felt the way in certain situations, and these are my feelings. I can't nobody control my feelings, and I can't make somebody feel what I feel. All I can do is articulate. All I can do is express how I feel. I don't have to act out how I feel, but I can articulate to the person that I'm expressing it to how I feel. Um, when you go through things in life and you start to acknowledge a lot of stuff, it's lonely. It's lonely. And that's why a lot of times we want people to validate us, because we are afraid to be by ourselves. Even if you're married, in a relationship, you still need that alone time so you can face yourself. Because if not, you're going to always be looking for that other person to pacify you. You need that soother 24/7, 365. And now it becomes that other person responsibility to make you feel good all the time. And what that does is take that accountability off your plate. And it's just like, okay, well, I don't never got to be held accountable for whatever it is that I've done, but make me feel good. Make me feel good. And that other person who's on the receiving end, though he or she may be making you feel good, in the back of their mind, they're feeling that. That can be traumatic to somebody.
Excellent point.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Oh, I was to say,
I was just,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No, you.
All right. I was going to say, excellent point. There are people who balance each other out, meaning I know you have some challenges with what you're working with. I have some challenges with what I'm working with. And we can actually partner in a way where we're not draining each other. We're actually helping to lift each other. You may have a strength in this area. I have a strength in this area, and we lift each other. But that's totally different than just surrendering and saying, okay, I'll do all the heavy lifting. Watch you not have a job, but then at the same time complain that I'm not home enough for you. Watch you chat and talk and giggle and play with other women, but yet you're not even helping me here. You're making promises. Oh, you need me to come. You need for other people when you're not even doing what we need to do right here at home base. So I think there's a clear difference, and I hope people understand the difference. Those who, more for men that are still at home connected to the mother relationships. And I'm not talking about like on the eastern part of the world where people are staying home to take care of their parents. I mean, those who are just, and not the ones here in the West going to college and all that. So not that group. I'm talking about the group that's staying home out of convenience, not really taking care of their responsibility, but then wanting to run someone else's home, telling them what to do, how to do it. So I just want to be clear, there's a difference.
I know people like that, like they be so concerned with everything everybody else got going on in their life, but can't even control the things in their own household. When I look at people like that, I think that they just don't have no control of themselves. They have no control of themselves. So it's easy for you to look outward because it takes too much for you to put that work to look inward. When you look inward, that's that loneliness that I was talking about earlier. When you look inwards, it's dark, it's scary. You have to face yourself. And a lot of times people do not want to face themselves. They rather say, you know what, instead of me facing myself, I'm finna point out everybody else's flaws, because then what that does, it allows you to point out your own flaws. See how broken you are, how jacked up you is, all the effed up things you did to people. And a lot of people don't want to take that accountability.
You know, when you said accountability, I also thought of guilt trips.
Yep.
You know, because I was talking about like money, like I don't work. Now, stereotypes says the stereotype that white women will support black men more than the black woman would. So then I would date Coach K thinking, oh, she's going to help take care of me. And I start to look at how much do I really grow? Am I building my own level of self-confidence? Am I building my level of self-worth? Or am I actually being reduced, allowing myself to be reduced because I'm relying on that stereotype that Coach K would do for me? I don't have to have a job, but then yet I'm still trying to manage her. And we get caught in that. Again, only those who are really doing it, like interracial dating and stuff. Stereotypes, I think, also hurt people, as you were saying, Jasmine, about the media messaging.
Well, you mentioned something about the interracial with black men dating Caucasian women. A lot of, I'm not saying all, but you have a very large percentage of black men dating Caucasian women, not because they this Caucasian woman can lift them up. It's they don't want to work. They don't want, it's not too many black women that's finna sit up there and take care of this man while he just sitting around and not do nothing, be a couch potato. I know for a fact none of the women that I know that's black finna take care of another black man while he just sitting around on the couch not doing nothing. You playing a game all day, and I'm busting my ass going to work 24/7, making sure that all the bills paid and the kids is taken care of. So if you want to go with a Caucasian woman, it's normally not the Caucasian woman that most people, that I would think most highly successful Caucasian men will select. It's a white woman with low self-esteem that needs somebody to make her feel good. So in that moment, he may be making her feel good sexually. That's about it. But in return, she's going to be putting up with everything, all of his stuff, all his mess.
Right. I think it's that also that flower syndrome I was talking about, because part of that connection involves helping him is my sunlight. Helping to lift him is the water. And those who believe that history has done black people wrong, and I want to do right. And I wasn't alive back then, so I'm trying to make up for it now. Then there's a status quo. If I have a powerful black man, or even Pookie and sucking a pacifier and wearing slippers, but the fact that I had that status quo of dating this black man. So taking care of him and that mindset may not seem as foolish as it does. It may seem like an investment to my future guy to really lift this guy up, and I get to feel proud that I lifted him, even though he's going to be facing the same system and structure that usually breaks him.
Right.
All right, one more.
You see that from what perspective? A Caucasian woman perspective when it comes to black men, the last statement that you made?
Yeah, so a lot of clients I see are executive women that bring in the men to say, help us. About 10% of the men that come in say, tell her I'm right. But I would say of that group of the women that come to see me, the executive women, I would say about 50% of them, because where I am in Minnesota, are interracial couples.
You
And so
know
that's
why
Mhm.
why.
I think that is? Okay, so I worked in a jail for 7 years. In the midst of me working for the jail, majority of the inmates was black. Even though these was teen, they were still inmates. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm,
say a good 98% of the inmates was black. All of the
mm-hmm,
volunteers, we didn't have not one black volunteer. All the volunteers
mm-hmm.
was white. And it's
Right.
because I don't know if it's something that subconsciously that some Caucasian, well, some white people, because I keep saying white
You
and
can say
Caucasian.
white. I don't good. Yeah, just
Okay,
say white. I don't care.
yeah, I'm sorry, I ain't want to offend you, but
No,
we
you
had
will not offend me. Trust me. You're good.
okay, so you had 98% of
Mm-hmm,
inmates that's black, 100% of volunteers that's white. And I hate to tie things to like slavery and racism, but it almost appears that the white people feel like they can save these black boys. They was putting themselves in situations where we had staff dealing with these kid inmates, and the white people
mm-hmm,
was going out their way to save this one staff for having sex and getting pregnant by a kid inside of the
mm-hmm,
jail to prove that, oh,
mm-hmm.
we're gonna save. It's not your job to try to save us.
Right.
It's not your
Right.
job. So I think a lot of times that's why you may have some, not all, because I do believe
Mm-hmm,
that people could fall in love, and love doesn't have any shapes, colors, or anything like that.
Mhm.
But you would have these people feeling that they can save the black people. Oh, I feel sorry for
Yeah.
them, or they went through X, Y, and Z. Because as a white woman, no matter how you may, and I had a white coworker who was dating somebody that was mixed. She felt like she
Mhm.
can relate to being somebody black, which
Mm.
you never had that. If you never been black, you wasn't born by anybody black, you wasn't raised by anybody black,
Mhm.
it's hard for you to actually experience the racism that most black people experience, or some of the traumas that
Mhm.
most black families go through. So she felt like she could have related more, because her boyfriend was black. But a lot of times, looking at this comment, but a lot of times you would have white women feeling that they are supposed to save our black men, because they listening to this pity. Oh, I'm going through this. Oh, I'm having a hard time. So if you never really grew up in that area, or you never had that same background, you probably wouldn't even know that this person is probably spitting some game. He trying to take some control of you. His ass is lazy. He don't want to work. So what he's really doing
mm-hmm,
is playing on your emotions. He making you
mm-hmm,
feel guilty so that he can gain control. And I think that's the E part, the emotional control that you said.
mm-hmm,
He make
mm-hmm,
he using it, the emotional control, so that he can you do the letter E, use you for all your resources.
mm-hmm. And I don't want to get into this conversation, but I'm going to add another
This is
piece.
an interesting
A
conversation,
lot
though. I
of
will say I
those,
do.
mhm,
Yeah.
a lot of
No,
those
you go ahead.
men
I was
in
just saying
those
it's
in the
interesting.
interracial relationships don't realize the amount of demasculization that's
Mm,
happening as well.
yeah.
They and again, that's another
Mhm.
whole topic, but that's something to
A
consider as
lot of
well.
that.
Now, those couples that come in, or people who I talk about, how can you build your own personal, like how do you build up intimacy for yourself? So your people, your inner circle, your family, your co-workers, any relationship, including the one with yourself, how can they get the best of you and not just the rest of you? Actually use the same letters, the same ABUSC, and reverse it. So instead of allowing someone to assassinate your character, learn to be assertive. And assertive doesn't mean you're just going to jump up in a chair. I'm sick of this shit. This is your last time. I'm never. Sure, that's defensive. That's
Right.
defensive. But if that person is really good at soothing you and controlling your emotions, you're back to square one. But learn to be assertive and feel confident in yourself. You may not have all the answers, but you have an answer. Start with an answer. Start with at least one answer to what's going on in your life. B, set
Mhm.
boundaries. Set boundaries and then stick to them. I say stay committed to the commitment. It may seem like, because at the time, also be careful. You have to recognize if you're matching stimuli. So if you're cursing me out, calling me all kind of fat bitches at 2 in the morning, and I'm upset, and I say this is the last time you're going to say that to me, but at
Mhm.
8 in the morning you're making me breakfast and soothing me with food, even though you just called me a fat ass bitch, a few hours ago. But in that
Mhm.
soothing, I don't feel the stimuli of those abusive words you said, unless
Mhm.
you sit at the unless you sit at the table watching me like you nasty fat. but in the
Right.
stimuli, if it doesn't match, then our boundaries seem to change.
Mhm.
Or you ever want to quit a
Mhm.
job or whatever, but then you feel better the next day, so you don't quit. Or you were going to do that one thing,
Mhm.
feel a little better, so you didn't do it. So be careful that when you're setting boundaries, that you don't loosen those because you feel better. So be
Mhm.
assertive, set boundaries, utilize new resources that are not tied into like your stuff. If you're saving money for a car and I soak up on, oh baby, $10 more, $20 more, I need this, I need that. Can you get that? Oh man, and I use up the money for that car, then guess what? You have no car. You're dependent still on me and my transportation or public transportation. But set aside your own resources. Utilize a totally different set of resources that you set boundaries to, that no one can tap into those. They're for your future, they're for your kid, they're for your home, they're for your health. That utilize a totally different set of resources when it comes to partners or relationships. And then S, create a safety plan for yourself. What is your safety plan? It doesn't have to be a domestically abusive relationship, but if you're emotionally abused, physically, verbally, uh, assaulted sexually, neglected, what is your safety plan? What is your exit plan? What is your exit strategy? What resources can you tap into to help you? So create a safety plan. Have certain phone calls like, man, I need support. I need to get air. I need to do this. Do you have therapy? Do you have a coach? Do you have a support person? Do you have spirituality? And then E, educate yourself. Educate yourself. There's nothing more knowledgeable than education. And I'm not talking about going to get degrees and degrees. I mean, educating yourself about who you are, your true limits. Sometimes we talk a big game, but we don't have the oomph to make it happen. And
Right.
so educate yourself for about who you are, about the people who are in your life, and what's going on.
Okay. So when
So,
you put the other abuse, the
mhm.
positive light, get right there, baby. Sorry, y'all. When you put the other views before you even started speaking, the first word that came to my mind is boundaries, because you asked how could somebody change. The only way you can
Yep.
change in a situation like that is to set boundaries and stick to those boundaries. And don't let up. You got to keep your foot on the gas and don't let up. Don't let
Hmm.
nobody change your mind, no matter how hurtful it may be, no matter how lonely you may be, no matter how sad or confused you may be. Just having those healthy boundaries. That's the only way that you're gonna be able to move forward with anything in life, is to have boundaries.
Hmm. But what if I'm attacking you, like saying hurtful things because you set a boundary? You act like I can't ask you. You act like I can't do this, and I'm really attacking you to make you feel guilty for having boundaries.
Well, if I'm using the acronyms that you just gave, abuse, and you're attacking me, I set my boundaries. I'm
Hmm.
being assertive with myself, and then
Hmm.
I'm focusing on my safety plan because I educated myself. So my
Right.
safety plan
Right.
is for me to exit that situation. So if I know that I'm only setting these boundaries because that's part of my exit plan.
Hmm. Hmm.
So once I
Right.
know that that's
But
part of my exit plan, now it's time for me to try to find some new resources. I got to find
right.
a whole new community to surround
Hmm.
myself with. Um,
Hmm.
that's something that I would probably like to call like a village. You got to create you a whole new village that does not include that person.
Right. Or people like that, because we
Yep.
could be magnetically attracted to the exact same people.
Yep.
Right. I don't know, but people fish, whoosh, and they reel in a crazy fish. And they're like, this one's crazy. And they throw it back in the water and then cast again in the same direction in the same water. Or
Well,
they might,
Well,
yeah,
that's when you can think about the E part, the educate. When you educate not yourself just on other things, but on yourself. That's the time for you to take the time to learn yourself and ask
yes.
yourself, why am I keep on catching the same damn fish? It must be
Mm-hmm.
something
Crazy
about
fish.
me that I keep catching this crazy fish.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that E part. I'm just using your
Mm-hmm.
acronyms back on you. That's
Yep,
all.
yep. Oh, yeah, no, it's good. That's good. The part about safety plan, because some people equate safety with like an abusive situation and get out, get out, get out. This could be a process, meaning I need to go take some classes, or I need like this training thing so I can get this job. I need to switch jobs so I can make a different, work a different schedule, make different money. I need to see what people are available to help me babysit. I need to see what I can do on my own. So that safety plan is really building that network, like you were talking about, that village, like you were talking about, and knowing how to execute. How to stabilize those boundaries, how to stick to them. That's all part of the safety plan.
Yep.
All right. Coach K, you have any questions, any thoughts?
No, I mean, I think this is really good. I mean, outside of an abusive situation, because I don't work with those or anything like that. But this still, a lot of this applies. But the biggest thing that I encourage people to do is to control the controllables, and there's a lot more that you can control than what you realize. And when you take that control over your emotions from that person, which it's funny that oftentimes the people that we don't like, or not so much in relationships, but on the internet or whatever, we let them have our emotions. So then they have to change or perform differently for us to feel better. But it's like, if this is kind of like the person, Jasmine, that you were talking about, like complaining, like I'm tired, but it's like, well, if this is the person that you don't like, for example, why would you want, like, you're giving them your power, right? So it's like, that's not what you want to do. So basically, once you know that you're in charge of that, no matter what someone does, and of course you're going to want to feel, if someone says something mean sometimes, yeah, you're going to want to feel a negative feeling. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you control your behavior, and blaming anyone else is not going to solve it, and it's only going to hurt you in the long run. But yeah, there's just so much. There's just so much out there, especially the information that we've already shared. It's I don't know. It's just so it's easy to feel optimistic because there's just so much help out there and so many solutions that I truly feel like there's nothing that me and my husband can't work through, to be honest. But yeah.
Jasmine, did you have any? I knew I wasn't going to hold you long. Did you have any other thoughts or closing thoughts about what you wanted to say as far as how people can establish or build intimacy?
Well, one, focus on yourself, point to yourself unconditionally. Put a lot of energy into working on how you think about things, the way you process things. I know for me, I had to learn that it was more than just my way of thinking. It was more than just my way of thinking. So allowing myself to have an open mind, an open heart, an open soul. Still having that protection barrier up, and not putting so much energy on the things that I can't control. Like, I can't control nobody else. It don't matter how much I love you, I can't control you. So with me knowing that, yeah, sometimes it may hurt, but at the end of the day, what can I do about it if I can't control you? So just really not putting so much emphasis on the things that's outside my control, and just pointing to myself unconditionally. And if something happens, let it happen organically, because you won't have to force intimacy. It just happens. You don't have to force that. If it's forced, then it's not real intimacy.
Okay. I thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate
Thank you guys
your
for helping
input
me.
today.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's great to meet you.
And then make sure. I'll connect with you about those gift certificates, and then people can just contact you, and you can divvy it up how you feel necessary.
Yeah, we'll have to share your link too if you want to put it in the back chat, and then we'll put it in the chat, so people know where to find you and all that.
Okay, thank you. Thank y'all for helping
me.
Of course. Take care.
See ya.
All right. Do you want me to go ahead and answer this real quick?
Yeah, we have some question stuff, so thank you. I think it was Corey and a few others. What's up? Welcome to the chat. So Corey has some comments and a few other people, so if we can pull those up, that would be great.
So, okay, I can go ahead and share for this one real quick, at least in what I would. This is me personally. So Country Living and Lovin' says, I thought this was about intimacy. Remember, you said you were married, even though I believe you said you're married to a white man. What ways for intimacy do you suggest a wife give? So how I'm understanding this is how I manage my own intimacy with my husband is, again, how I manage myself, how, because if I'm not aware of what I'm thinking and how I'm behaving and what I'm interpreting, there's gonna be a wall between us, that I built and that I feel, and then I'm gonna act accordingly. So, one of my favorite things that I offer people is to find understanding and to question your thoughts, because oftentimes, um, when we think someone, like, if I think he's mad or angry, for all I know, he's just tired. So I try to leave room for, I give him the benefit of the doubt. There's no reason to pick fights because I satisfy my own needs of confidence, feeling that security, but also too, if there's something that I am confused about or I need, I will ask him. I need to stop looking at the chat. But you know, I I don't pick fights. That's the biggest thing. I don't look at something and kind of take it and spin it because what's the upside? But interesting. But yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm just losing my train of thought, so it's okay. You wanna speak on it, Dr. Nakumbi? Any of all the things? Oh, you might be muted.
Hey, sorry about that. Hey, what's up, Andre, and beautiful animated speaks, and a few other people here. I'll get you those in a second. Those names. Hello. This question up here, I can't speak to it as a wife.
Yeah.
The white
I
man,
guess I want to clarify for the chat. I think, well, because we were talking about satisfying or like trying to, when we're empty in a certain place in us, I'm
Mhm.
guessing, there's needs that we all have. And when we're not taking care of those, then we look externally. So we were talking about
Mhm.
how in relationships, sometimes we try to feel good about ourselves by looking outwards and helping someone else. And that in turn, we feel good. So then we were talking about how in relationships, people will do that. And then Jasmine was talking about how she worked she was working in a jail, and
Mhm.
she noticed that like even in interracial relationships that they will do that. As an observation, because it's subjective. For some people, it very well might be that situation, but I would say most relationships, some people might do that in one form or another. That's why we have this show, right? We're
Mhm.
trying to help people with these types of things.
Right.
And then um, so then she was talking about too how, well, I don't really know after that, but as far as I'll be, candid. Dr. Nakabi and I talked about this at one point, just about race and things like that. And there's a lot. Well, you wanna speak on it because I don't want
Mhm.
to
Well, yeah,
overstep.
I
So
know for
you
tonight's
go ahead.
example, yeah, for tonight's example, I was talking about, I was given some scenarios, and one of them that could apply to men who are staying home and having a significant other taking care of them. But Jasmine and I, we started role playing. I think you had cut out for a second. We started role playing as if we were a couple, and then when I gave her that example, she was like, "Yeah, there aren't that many black women who are going to allow that." And I'm like, "Oh, but I also know of interracial couples because of the work that I do. Again, I'm in Minnesota, so the numbers are high there. And so talking about that, and then I said, if I were your husband or your guy, and I'm not working, and the likelihood of following that stereotype of you taking care of me,
Mhm.
even though you might not be doing that to as a way to save the day, you might be investing in our relationship. Once I'm strong
Mhm.
again, it'll be about those boundaries, though. How long am I allowed to stay? I mean, minus medical conditions and stuff like that, inability to work, minus the inability to work. How long are
Right.
we staying in that condition? So that's what that was about. So,
Yeah,
and I know there
nothing
were some other
really.
comments that went by. I didn't catch them in time. Um, but
Yeah.
uh, I like what Corey just said about giving the best version of yourself. And I have this
Yeah.
book, and I wanted to show. And forgive me because I'm trying to get the right angle. It's only one book, and I did this actually on Jasmine's show the other day. It's only one book. And when we think of intimacy, when I think of intimacy and what people are about internally, I look at,
Mhm.
well, where did it all really come from? And then what did we do with it? And then how do we sit with it? How do we
Mhm.
sit with it? Do we ever just sit in silence? So I think the universe is, sometimes I just need to sit down and watch what the universe has for me. But in this book, I would say if we truly started, and this is just a gimmick, so I don't want people getting worked up about it, but I say, we started sort of like a clean slate, mind empty. Of course, we're learning from parents and caretakers, barbers, friends, schools, many, many places, church
Yeah.
leaders, so on. We're learning, we're taking in, we're taking in, we're taking in. But again, we start with this, I believe I'm an okay person. But then media and all these other influences may kick in, education, different things we're taught may play a role, but now this stuff gets in our brain. So now we have these things in our brain. Okay, so these images in our brain. Now, what you do with those images and which ones stand out the most to you is a different story, because we can start to add color to these images, depending how much color, what color, how it rolls out in your life. So we went from nothing to having images and then adding significance. I said color, but let's call it significance. And then things just look different. They look different to us. Okay. So again, pending which and how you want to color those images or visions or thoughts. But now I'm living based on what colored lens I wear. So depending the lens I wear, that might determine how I value myself, value my partner, value friends, family, so on and so on and so on. And then does it always match? What if my woman is only at this stage? She's only at this stage, but she's wanting to stay level with me, or says I get to lead the home. If it's a marriage or and I get to lead the home, and it's not saying she can't, but then what is she going? She's going by what I have. She's going by this. So I might end up shading her world with my color lens, if that makes sense. And it's not a bad thing, but again, that whole thing, if you don't set boundaries, if you're not assertive for yourself, you don't have to have the same. And in fact, I don't know if you ever tell, well, I guess with teens, but what I tell some couples, be careful for like couples privilege, like, because or person privilege. So I have my lifestyle, you have your lifestyle, boom. But who says so jobs, living life, yes, I have my, tenets in life. This is who I am. But as a couple, who says we can't just start over and create our own? Who says we just can't start over and start our own? And then together, we create what intimacy looks like for us, what it looks like for us, and then we just, we draw and create our own thing. If that makes sense. Again, that was just
So there's
an
options.
analogy. I think they are.
I think so too. I think that
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes people don't realize
Look at your
actually
face.
how. I know. I'm gonna ask that about that in a second, or maybe
Right,
after
right,
the show. But I was
right,
like,
right.
Like, what in the heck? And
uh,
I always try to figure
yeah.
out how people do stuff. But the people actually have more, we're not fixed,
Hmm.
as humans, which
Hmm.
is I
Hmm.
love, and it's so fascinating and empowering ultimately that we're
Hmm.
not fixed,
Hmm.
and neither are
Hmm.
other people. So,
Right. The the topic for tonight is really about building your own intimacy and understanding what that is. So some people think it's sex. Some people think that it's, as I was saying earlier, feeling rooted or connected or feeling good, baked to these feelings. And please know, giving yourself permission to be who you are. I always ask, who's the perfect one? I hear people complain in a relationship, oh, why can't we be like, and why can't we be? We don't know what those people have going on. We really know what every other couple has going on. Coach K, I see you have that bling bling is blinding me from over here. That ring you have on.
yeah,
But it'd just be easy to assume
right,
you guys have no problems and you're rocking, your relationship is just rocking, and boom,
right,
you 6'1" in the Porsche. So
right,
that's an assumption. So sometimes we
right,
let these images of what we think people have impact our relationship with ourselves and relationship with others. Makeup,
100%.
clothes, money,
Social
status,
media, really
social
bad.
media. Um, uh, I was watching one of these shows, and I think it might have been Andre or somebody on one of these shows told me the background, the
Green
what are
screen?
these
Green
backgrounds that you
screen?
can have. Yeah, the screen, whatever. But when you
Yeah, the
move, if
virtual,
you
yeah.
move a certain way, they get, yeah, the virtual. So I stopped using one of
Mhm,
those. But then I was watching like how many other I'm watching all the other YouTubers and what they have for the
mhm.
background, and I'm like, I don't want this dingy light behind me and shadows, and I want this, I want that.
Yeah,
But I went through like, I won't say 100. I went through so many profiles and YouTube sites and different things just to see what, like, oh, I want that. I should have. Ooh, I like this one. I like.
right.
And why can't I just be content with myself? Content with myself.
That is good. Right.
I mean, I can still work on this
And
dingy light, but my point is, why can't I, why not be happy with what I have and then pick something? I might like something, doesn't mean I can't model that. But the desperation feeling like I have to have, do I?
right, right, and it's like, and do you like your reasons for it?
Hmm.
And that's so easy,
Hmm.
especially with there's so much out there, so many options for
Hmm.
whatever, and then sometimes we'll do that to keep us from that growth or, um whatever it is, and as a means of procrastinating or finding flaws in our relationship where there maybe aren't.
Hmm.
And like you said,
Hmm.
we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I would say that that's for every human.
Hmm.
It's interesting. I've even like heard that like sometimes at different workplaces or whatever, but people would think that I came from like a really nice like area in the city. And I'm like,
Hmm.
why do you say that? And it was because I had, I guess, because I was put together. I don't know. But I was like, actually, no, like I'm not. But, so it's
Hmm.
just interesting. That's why finding that understanding is always important.
Hmm.
But even if, let's say, you did decide on one of those backgrounds or one of the setups or whatever, would you be content if you thought, like, let's say it wasn't even your style? It
Hmm.
wasn't you, but you went for it because someone with X amount of subscribers had it. How would you feel, do you
Hmm.
think?
Great question, but I want to add a few variables because my thinking and my feeling, there are a few variables that we have to count in. My mental health. My mental health.
For sure. Yeah.
If I deal with, anxiety, I'm worried about my image. Okay. So
Mhm.
that plays a totally different role. If I deal with
100%.
sadness, depression, that plays a totally different role because maybe I don't have the
Mhm.
motivation competes. And so therefore I can only look at 5 of them and I'm already exhausted. So
Mhm.
mental health plays a role. What about addictions? So now how would addiction matter about a background? So if I'm talking about like an addiction, like an OCD, maybe not even not an addiction, OCD, compulsive. So when I'm talking about, I go through like hundreds and hundreds, and I'm viewing and I'm viewing and I'm viewing. I could have landed on the perfect one 10 minutes ago, but I'm
Right.
click, click, click. Oh wow, click, 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 and this is a
Mhm.
behavior that okay, so
Mhm.
this is a condition that I have. It impacts how I might find the one that I actually like. It can
Mhm.
impact me selecting one, putting it up or using it, and then 10 minutes later, right in the middle of a call, be like, oh, hold on for a second. Yeah, go ahead, Coach K, keep talking. And then boom, I'm behind the scenes only to come back to a new background. Yay! Because
Mhm.
that compulsiveness. So to answer your question, I want to throw in many variables, and I'm going to go into theatrics right
Absolutely.
now. Okay? So I'm going into full theatrics. Trigger alert! I'm going into full theatrics. The self hate. Let's talk about the self hate. So I can't even get to the point of trying to decide one of these because it seems like no matter what I pick is all fucked up in the first place. Okay. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, the piece of shit camera that I'm using, I don't have the technology. I don't have the money. I'm not as fancy as what the energy that I'm using right now, the energy that I'm using. Now, when I go through theatrics, just pause for a second. When I go through theatrics, I
You're
usually
really
go to
good,
the
yeah.
extreme. Yeah, I go to the
Yeah.
extreme, and some people say, "Oh, you're doing too much. You're doing too much." Let me do too much. Let me go to the extreme, so then you might find
Right.
yourself a little bit more in the middle. But I like to go to the
Mhm.
extreme to show what could happen. All right, so I do that
Mhm.
intentionally. I'm comfortable with that. So self-hatred. What about those who really, really, really don't know how to match how they feel with their expression? So when you are helping me select one, and I'm like, yeah, oh, oh, but inside, not multiple personalities. I'm sure someone in the audience knows what I'm talking about. We're on the outside. I don't want to hurt your feelings, Coach K, like, because you're helping me. So I don't want to be like, that was not that bad. But inside, I'm like, uh,
Right.
mm. So we settle. I'm talking about the settlers
Mhm.
out there. We settle even so our expression doesn't even match how we truly feel. And how
Mhm.
long do we go before we say something, before we speak to it? And so then I'm either looking for other people to confirm that I landed on the right choice, meaning when I settled, it was okay. I'm looking for other people to tell me, is this a good relationship? Should I be with her? Is this because I've
Mhm.
settled? So my expressions don't match how I truly feel. I let things slide. Okay. So then we have another population who um, who believe that if I make you happy, if I make you happy, so if I make you happy, that you're truly happy. If I make you happy, that you're truly happy. And what I mean by that is there are some
Yeah.
people who don't want to let me down, so they'll stay in the happy role, even though they're not happy. I'm
Mm.
believing that you're happy, you're faking or you're going along with happy. We both think that we're happy and things are going well when they are not. And my intimacy, the tank is low because I'm talking about I'm exhausting this energy to keep you happy because I believe you're happy and you're shooting back that yes, I'm happy. So I have to maintain what I think is keeping us happy.
Right.
And I know it sounds crazy, but there are people out there who do that. They exhaust so much. I have to
Right.
recognize any damage. I call it like a pinhole all the way to a huge hole that no matter how much you pour into me, I'm exhausting. So when I'm looking at these visual things, it's never enough. I have a case of it's called inadequacy. I'm inadequate.
Mm-hmm.
It's never enough. So if you say pick your top three, I end up picking 10. Well, is there a way, just in case, we start putting people to the side as a just in case. We start putting things to the side just in case. We spend more money than we should spend just in case. There's a lot of
Right.
just in case because it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. When there
Right.
probably was enough starting with yourself. Another
Right.
reality I want to talk about because people say all this, just get confident. Just do it. You can feel you need to walk away. But what's tied to me walking away? What is the ball and chain connected to me walking away? Back to that tree that we talked about last week. If I don't believe I'm enough, if I don't believe I am worthy, if I didn't feel heard as a
Mm-hmm.
child, then my speaking loud now is so that I can feel heard. And if my level of
Mm-hmm.
intimacy doesn't feel like it's complete unless I feel heard, I may not ever get it because people are going to say, you're doing too much, you're too loud, you're too like, what? Calm down. But if I calm down, I won't get that. And then people find it in the wrong places. Some people find their level of connection in the wrong places. Now, I can't speak what's right for you or what's wrong for you. So when I say wrong places, let's say unuseful places or places that might end up bringing me down or distractions, things that are just distractions. Video games, nothing wrong with video games, but I put all my energy into a video game, awesome. But if I lose in the game, I feel like I lose in life.
Right.
Um, if I'm using drugs, smoking weed, eating the gummy bears, drinking alcohol, all those things, cool. I'm not here to knock that. But if that's what I'm using to keep me up, what would I do if I don't have it? I'm using those products to feel normal,
Right.
then am I screwed without it? Um, and then, the
Right.
other places and addictions, relationships, love. If I don't have those things, I feel empty, lonely. And loneliness is real.
For
Don't
sure.
play. Loneliness is real.
Yeah.
So I don't want
I
to
think that's
minimize that.
interesting. I was on a different show talking about abuse, and when I looked up the definition, um, it was kind of describing what we would consider like alcohol abuse or just misuse.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
and I obviously it's the same word, but I like to think of it the same way with people, because they are doing something. They're misusing that person for some other need, an, an unhealthy need. Um, and you know how earlier you were asking Jasmine, like what's it like when, for example, if someone is getting away from this person,
Hmm.
and then there's going to be a time where they're lonely. And I think that's the
Hmm.
withdrawal, where you're
Hmm.
starting to face the raw feelings because you don't have that substance. You don't have that person that you've been relying on to satisfy whatever need or, unmet desire you have. So it's going to be
Hmm.
uncomfortable for sure temporarily as you get to whatever with, talking relationships, that better place. But you have
Hmm.
to sometimes the coaches that I know will say the only way out is through, right?
Woo, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because around it is
So,
avoidance. Going
mhm.
around it is is a, it sound. I mean, because it may not sound like avoidance. I'll just distract myself. That's cool. But if you've never learned to go through it, you've learned the art of distraction. But did you learn? You didn't really go through it and know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So this could be
Some
another
of the
thing, another
clients that I
relationship.
coach, some of
Mhm.
the clients that I coach, when we talk about, well, how do you just not talk about it? How do you actually do something? What are tips? What are tips for actually like getting motivated or making changes? Making changes. So one, looking at the benefit of the change, because until the pain of the consequences outweighs the joy of the behavior, people will continue to do what they do. Okay. So I have to look at some key benefits, rewards, and all that stuff that I can benefit from by making this change. Long term benefit, not just an immediate benefit.
Right.
So looking at benefits that the consequences, outweighs the consequences. Then how much of that can I really do? Again, knowing my limitations, how much of that can we do? And what's the plan to make it happen? I don't think enough people
Mhm.
plan. Like, what's the plan to make it happen? Even in relationships, what's the plan in the relationship? If it's not a plan for marriage, it's a plan for what? If it's a plan just for hooking up or being lovers or whatever you want to call it, but still, what's the plan? What is the plan? I don't think people
Mhm.
plan enough, but they'll plan that they know when that paycheck is coming. For those who work, huh? They know how to plan to spend that money. They know how to plan for Christmas time. They know how to plan for birthdays and holidays and concerts coming. People know how to plan for that. But that's
Right.
easier, right? That's less taxing on the mind. That's almost a celebration.
Right.
When people go to bars on Friday, they knew they were going on Tuesday. Quit playing. They knew on Tuesday, whoo, paid on Friday, we're going out to have drinks. The
Mhm.
people at the bar on Friday most likely knew on Tuesday they were going. Monday morning
Mhm.
BS, Tuesday, whatever, Wednesday, oh my gosh. Friday we get paid. I already know where we are going to be.
Mhm.
John Wick 4 came out, the movie. How many people? Thursday, it opens Friday, but the Thursday night, some of the theaters already sold out. And people planned, which is good. I don't want to, I don't want to demonize that. That's a good thing. People went to the movie. But I'm saying the same
Right.
energy they put into that, they can do, for other things in life as well. All right. So we have,
Exactly.
yes, I'm open to any thoughts you have, but I see we have a few comments and I know a lot of them passed. And so I just want to go through those and then we can start to wrap it up. Are there more CBN? Can we get all the questions up or the ones we missed or any comments? Coach K, let me know if you see any comments that people
Let's
are asking questions or
see.
you like us to get to.
Um.
I see Corey says the
I
best
saw.
vacation of your life is going with someone who is happy all year long, right? Not just the temporary moment, uh, just
Well,
the temporary,
I
but
think
like
that's
all seasons.
interesting. Well,
Yeah.
there is something to that in a way. This is how I look at it, at least, is
hmm
um in life there's obviously going to be that contrast. That's how we know we're happy or joyful or content because we have those negative moments. And I think, especially in this culture now, with things being so much easier with technology, we don't want to
hmm
feel bad. But
hmm
that's inevitable and it's worth it, by the way. And it's
hmm
just a part of life, like, death and things like that. But when we don't avoid those natural, expected, inevitable negative events, and we feel it all the way through, and we don't make
hmm
it mean something's wrong with us because we're unhappy,
hmm
then
hmm
and then we don't do things like the distract, like, drugs and alcohol, like, to soothe, then it's quicker for us to be back, to feeling more positive, more content, or whatever, if you will. And we're not also reactive to, when we know the reasons for why we might be feeling this way, or when we recognize. Sometimes I have to remind myself if there's, a death in the family or something unfortunate, like, or sometimes I'm just not feeling motivated, and that's okay, like, it's
hmm
okay. Um,
hmm
so I would say that's a big thing. You're not going to be happy all the time, but there's definitely ways to not suffer more because you're unhappy sometimes. And obviously, I'm just
hmm
speaking for those who obviously are not clinically depressed, or because that's, different
Right.
situations for sure,
Right.
but
Right.
just in general,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yep. Yep. That makes sense. I, for those who know me, those in my inner circle who know me, I can find positivity out of anything. Anything. You could tell me my grandma just got hit by a truck, and I'd be like, damn, it was the truck okay? I mean, like, what? And I know I'm a comedian, but I can find humor and positivity in anything. I know death is inevitable. So, but people don't grieve very well. So grief and loss is very hard for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are so many scenarios. People are like, what if and what if? Yep. There are a lot of what ifs. I have no guarantees. I can walk out tonight and get hit by a truck. There are no guarantees. Now, it doesn't mean I'm never sad.
That's
Doesn't mean I'm
for
never
sure.
depressed or hurt. I'm just saying I can find a positive spin on anything. What if your woman cheats on you? Yeah. I don't own her, right? I
What
can
if she
get that
doesn't?
belief in my
Right.
head. Yeah, you're right, right. Or yeah, she's mine. She's mine. That's mine, and that's
Right.
mine. But the only thing I really own is me. And heck,
Mm-hmm.
since I can't name my death date, how
Right.
much control do I really have of myself? I'm talking about, not self elimination, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
intentionally
Right.
deactivating myself. I'm talking about I
Right.
don't know my deactivation date. So how much control
Right.
do I really have? But again, that's some kind of my own universe stuff. But as
That's
I'm
interesting though.
proud of the things I can do. Yeah, I'm proud of the things I can do. Coach K, can you box?
Can I box?
Can you beat box?
Oh, beatbox. I was no, I cannot. I know you can, right?
Yeah.
Because you used to rap too, or you
See,
still do
yeah, yeah,
rap.
yeah.
And yeah.
Again, all I know is the little things that I can do, and
Right.
I'm okay with that. If 10 other people
Right.
can do it, that's awesome. But I know how
Right.
I can do. I know how I
Right.
can do. And when I get into a relationship, I bring what I can bring. Of course, I want to help uplift, but the parts that I don't bring, I figure out a way not to beat myself up for it, not to beat myself up for it. And if we think about it, most relationships that we get in, how did we get into it? If it really wasn't meant for you, how did we get into it? How? Did we really stumble on the wrong side of town with the wrong person? So there was an element there that somehow I got in this relationship. Uh,
Right.
so anyway, let's see what else. What else?
Sometimes, yeah. Isaiah has a question. I think it's interesting. He says, "What's the real cause of the single parent household?"
mm, I have a couple of thoughts on that. I have quite a few thoughts on it. I always look at many variables, everything from politics. That's a number one
Many variables.
category, right? Politics. I look at, and someone wrote earlier, I think it was Christina said, we live in undetermined times or something like that. Or we live in a world right now where you never know what's going on. And I think the more confusion we have, the some of the fears that we have, some of the way the world is operating, the changes that we have, I don't think people
Mm-hmm.
stay. They don't stay within the home system like they used to. And that home's gonna be at work. Are people staying? Remember back in the day, if you worked somewhere for 20 or 30 years, then you got a pension or something like that, or a retirement fund.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely
Mm-hmm.
hear of anything like that. So certain
Right.
systems, people don't stay, or homes, different values. And it used to be, again, where we could have different values, but it didn't mean we couldn't work together or stay together. But if I say,
Right.
hey, our son can't go out tonight, or after practice of volleyball or whatever he's playing, or actually I don't know, is there boys volleyball? I think yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is.
um, yeah, there is. But after some sport, then he needs to come home and do whatever X, Y, and Z, and then I see that the other parent let them do whatever, or vice versa. The other parent is saying to
Mm-hmm.
me, chill, let them, and I'm the one, rah, 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 rah. That type of conflict, people get exhausted. And I think to
Mm-hmm.
self-preserve, like, whew, I don't want to go down with the ship. So I think some people
Right.
abandon situations or environments or homes in order to save themselves. And they can make all the promises in the beginning. I'll never leave you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one,
It's
our
easy. Yeah.
family. And now we have kids just for the kids, just for the kids. But some men who've not had a father around, it'll be easier for them to say, what one man won't do, another man will. I'm out. Now, moms usually don't take the same
Yeah.
luxury. I mean, you have that life growing you. You know, you feel that life
Right.
growing you, and
Right.
we don't usually take that route. There are some women who have left their children, but the point is, I think it's the permission givers, the messaging that are
Mm-hmm.
permission givers that is sexy to leave. You know, get out of this and get out of that. As I said earlier, you could be married on Monday. Um, um, you can get married on Monday and start talking divorce on Friday. And you say, well, yeah, I got to take care of myself, my mental health. I'm not going to stay in an unhealthy situation. But did you not notice the unhealthiness anywhere, what they call red flags? Did you not notice anything before the marriage or before the commitment? What is the vetting these days? Do people even vet anymore or get to know each other? Dating or talking or whatever they even call it now. But how do you get to know
No.
people these days? So
Right.
again, I think the real cause of the single parenting household, from my perspective is that we've been given permission to do it by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I was raised by myself, so I know I can do it. I can take care of my child. I can take care of my child. I
Mm-hmm.
don't need another. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Even if we say we can't teach a man to be a man, and uh, men can't teach a woman to be a woman, but school resources, other family resources, there are enough resources that the part that I can't do, I know I can. So I
Right.
don't have to have a double parent home. I can stay in a single parent home and do it on my own. And then again, you have the men who are leaving, abandoning ship or their role, and then you have dysfunction, drug use, unmanaged mental health that's destroying the homes and leaving people to do by themselves. So many variables, but those are my thoughts.
Yeah. And I'll say, I think all you touched on so many important ones. I will say, you know how you just a minute ago you're talking about change and like a behavior and how what are your reasons, like what are the benefits of it? I think that this is prevalent in this situation is maybe I guess they don't people and I don't want to say for all obviously, but the benefits of
Mm-hmm.
having a two-parent household or staying with your spouse and working through things for the child, those benefits. What they say, what's that figure of speech, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze or whatever, like maybe they're not seeing those.
Yeah.
Is that appropriate in this like context or whatever, but they don't see
Mm-hmm.
the benefits and but they
Right.
are seeing, and I would say with media, with whatever, the benefits of being on their own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But and I will also say too, things just that instant gratification, I don't want to say, I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
I think the Western culture is soft, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. But,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
again, this is very, oh, he said it's not, Trey said it doesn't fit, but you get what I'm saying. Okay. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to look that up, but you guys get what I'm saying. But they don't think it's worth the effort. And if you don't think something's worth the effort, you're not going to do it. So,
And some of these homes don't start as two-parent homes. I mean, you could, when we talk about parent home to a parent, um, some of them are starting out single. We just happen to have successful sex. We weren't even planning for a kid. We just had successful
very
sex,
successful.
and so yeah, right, very,
That does
um,
that does
yeah,
work.
hmm?
My figure of
Successful sex.
speech.
Oh,
That's okay.
yeah.
I
And
googled
then
it real
people
quick. But
say,
anyway, sorry. Go
why
ahead.
have people say, why have kids if you're broke and all this and stuff? But please remember, uh, sex as a way of people feeling connected, the sense of touch, feeling all these things. So, poor people bond. I've gone places where I've watched husband and wife homeless, husband and wife homeless together. And then I've
Fascinating.
seen same homeless with like 4, 5, 6 kids. Like, I'm confused. But they're bonding. They're not intentionally trying to have children, but they're bond together, the sex together, and then,
Mm-hmm.
well, they should be more responsible, true, but we're talking about people who they're only intending to connect for a feel good, and they're having kids. People in poverty and all this stuff, they don't have anything, but they have each other. And
Right.
that's huge. That's huge.
Right.
And so Corey says, I don't have social media for just that reason. Happiness is a choice, not based on someone else's validating his life. And see that examples like that, to be able to say that with confidence, I don't need, and I'm okay. I'm okay. But the
Right.
way the systems are designed, they're going to push, push, push like you have to have it. You have to have it. The other day, my phone was
Mm-hmm.
off. Someone was teasing me, they said I had Cricket Mobile, but my
Oh.
phone was off because uh, there's a store that starts with the big W. I made a purchase, and then some other folks decided to make the purchase on my credit card. It was still in their system. So my bank stopped the credit card, but I had so many things that were on auto pay. So I didn't even know my phone was
Oh,
on
that's the
auto pay. I mean, I
worst.
forgot. I forgot that it was on auto pay. Anyway, my point is that when I
Mm-hmm.
paid it, I only went to pay the bill, and I only went to pay the bill, but then they started asking, any other things we could do for you? I'm looking into your account. It looks great. Did you need any of the phones? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. And then she said, what about the kids in the house? You have any kids that? And I said, oh, well, do you have any kid-proof phones? What's the earliest would you say to get them a phone? And I know it was a salesperson, but the salesperson
Yeah.
said, I've seen parents get phones for as young as 6, 7 years old. And I said, oh, all right, no, I'm not doing that, and that's cool. I'm not here to debate if that's too young, if that's too old. That
Right.
wouldn't work for my beliefs. But and people say, well,
Right.
what if there's a school something something? What if they got? Yeah, I get it, but there's a
Right.
belief out there
Right.
that the media pushes and different places push an agenda so your family caters to their whatever they're selling or pushing.
Right.
All right,
Right.
we are reaching closing minutes here. So, any closing questions, thoughts? Let's see. Actually, Black Man Unfiltered says men don't see the value in women anymore because women don't see value in themselves. The JJ has been used up so much by men, used up so much. Men have become desensitized to caring anymore. They just think sex and move, poke and move, poke and
Hmm.
move. There's still a population that's actually they still have values, morals, family beliefs, virgins, but we don't hear about
Mm-hmm.
those. We don't hear about
Right.
them. I mean, they're just not in that same arena. They're
Mm-hmm.
taking care of business, they're preserving them, they're saving themselves, they're looking for marriage, they're in family systems, or they're working, they're off to school, they have a different agenda. But the ones who may feel less connected, or the ones who feel like more connected through their body, and unfortunately, historically, and I'm just talking, the historical gender of man and woman, where the woman can walk across the room and most people will look at her butt. That they,
Mm-hmm.
they place the value in the body. Two cheeks, just two
Mm-hmm.
cheeks. And pending on your
Right.
size, it might just be one funny shaped cheek. But anyway, the point is
Right. Right.
the
Right.
value, but even that is objectifying, sexually
Right.
objectifying women. I mean, and guys get it too. I think the quarterback back in the day was doing those Rustler jean commercials. He's out there as a cowboy and stuff, and the nice jeans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. We do it to each other, but primarily men to do that to women, and they place the value
Right.
in their body. And
Mm-hmm.
so, if you have that mindset that it's your body, you start wearing things that are more revealing. And then there's an
Mm-hmm.
argument because some men love it and they push that agenda, and some say no, you need to wrap up. I also know men that
Mm-hmm.
say no when it's convenient for them. They'll meet you
Right.
at a club or whatever, and they love it. Oh, damn, is that
Right.
you? And like, ooh. But then when you're my woman, I need to protect you. Now you need
Right.
protection. When you didn't have a man, you didn't need. When you didn't need a man, when you didn't have a man and you were
Mhm.
half naked, you didn't need protection. Now you have a man
Mhm.
and you need protection. Anyway, uh,
I know.
all
Gotta
right.
cause fights,
So
but yeah.
we're gonna we're gonna wrap it up. Are there any other oh, a true man? Maybe that's me. That what wants to see the woman half naked. I love to see a woman confident, bold, and doing what she does. If she's in the right place, right arena, appropriate, and not just for kids, but why would you be at a
Mhm.
Walmart in a string outfit? I'm just wondering why. Those who can do it, I don't send any hate. Am I the one saying I need to
Right.
protect my woman? No, no, no. In fact, I might even get excited if my woman does that. But I'm such a protector myself. I believe in being a protector myself. So I look at what is the benefit of you going out like that? If is it for my boys' entertainment, my guys, so my boys see you? What's the significance of that? And then after that, you grow out of that stage. My bouncing days
Right.
and the clubs, my as a bouncer, you first start working, it's like, oh,
Right.
everything was exciting. A couple months of that, I was able to do my job and focus on the job because that stuff doesn't mean that much to me anymore. So unfortunately,
Right.
fortunately for me, but unfortunately, I don't match that description. I'm not that type of guy. But my record speaks for itself, so I'm not that type of guy. All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
yeah, but I appreciate that thought though that I might be I might be that one, but I'm not. All right, so Queen Smiley says we have to stop pointing fingers and move towards solutions. None of us are
Mhm.
perfect. I will say this: a lot of the panels on different all across the different shows, I hear them talk, 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 and I cringe because psychology is not everything. I get it. Psychology is not everything. But since I study human life, since I study human
Mhm.
behavior and
Mhm.
crime, sexuality, and because I study that for work and da da da, I cringe when I hear stuff that people are not saying the right information. Oh yeah, man, I self-soothed 10 times this week because I ate broccoli. What? Or the women are doing and the men are narcissists, and those guys are, and everyone has a form of narcissistic traits. But because I can't, when I give the
Right.
clinical version, it's like, well, who does he think he is? I'll be first to tell you, I'm blessed with knowledge, and I'm also cursed. I'll be first to tell you, I'm cursed. This is no, it's not a fun
I
rodeo. Complaining, but
I
I'm
hate
I'm
the
being
awareness
thankful.
sometimes.
Yes, the awareness is a blessing and a curse. But the point is, and then we're going to wrap it up. You can wrap it up, Coach K. Back to
No,
the
you go ahead.
comment. There's so many times I watch the shows, but they don't leave with options or solutions. It's a good
Mhm.
talk session. It's a good bitching session. It's a good hype it
Mhm.
up session. But where are the solutions? And then those who come at me, I wonder, check my record. I'm out in the community and not for boasting of my name. I do my Secret Santa. I do this. I do that. I'm giving back
Mhm.
to the community. So the people who are doing all that talking, what are we doing? What are we doing to give back to the
Right.
community? Since we have these ideas and we have all this information, what are we doing? One of the reasons why I'm on this network, Black Man Unfiltered Network, is because we do have some quality shows and panels of people who are trying to do something, trying to do something. Sometimes it's just the talkie shows, the laughy shows, or whatever, but there are enough sprinkled in this network that are trying to do something. I'm more than open to
Mhm.
collaborating. If you have ideas on how we can collaborate, hit me up. Hit me up. I'm open to collaboration. I want all people, and especially my people, to be able to get all the support that they can. All people, and especially my people. All right?
Well said.
Cool. Trey was giving me the
We'll
quote.
definitely have to
I
talk
thank
after
you, Coach
this, but
K.
yeah.
Always a blessing and
Thank
honor.
you guys.
Jasmine, thank you for being on the show with us. Black Man Unfiltered, thank you for allowing us to share this space with you on the network. For those who attended, thank you, thank you, thank you. There are quite a few names. Hopefully I gave the shout outs, but there are a few that I might have missed. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful Animator Speaks, Corey, Queen Smiley, Christina, said Corey. Chime in. Come on, Coach. We only have a couple of seconds here.
We got
beautiful
Trey, Christina,
Isaiah
everyone.
Jr., William Graves. Thank you, thank you.
Marcus.
And see, Lady Navoa, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Everyone, if we missed a name, we apologize, but thank you for being here. Get those likes up. To our engineer in the back, CBN, thank you, thank you, thank you. And take care of yourselves. Do better, be better, and all those other fancy quotes. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. See you, Coach.
See ya.
My name is Rosa. They say I'm supposed to sit in the back, but I'm tired here, so I'm finna sit right closer. Come get me up then. It's gonna take about 3, 4, 5 minutes. And I ain't finna repeat myself again. Fight me. Somebody get her. My name is Eve. I didn't believe. I trusted Satan, ate that apple, he deceived. And I'm naked. I thought I was awakened. I'm the first to do it. Y'all my daughters, we related. Trick on Big Harry. Don't call me slave hoe. The hell? From the underground railroad, bustin' down mouth of dope. When I say run, you better go. In the dark, that Glocky glow. I